I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Daniela. I'm marketing lead at Firon, and I'll be moderating today's session. Just as a heads up, we're changing up the format for today. This is a panel discussion, so we will not be sharing any slides, but you will be receiving a recording of this talk, and also we'll be sharing some great content, including a white paper and a WhatsApp cheat sheet at the very end. You'll be able to download it directly from this event room. And we'd like to keep this session interactive and engaging. And on that note, I'll just like to give you a few tips on how to use Livestorm. If you have any comments, please use the chat tab. A lot of you are already saying hi and where you're tuning in from. For those of you that have just joined, please do the same. We'd love to know where you're tuning in from. If you have any questions, please use the questions tab. It's just to the left of the chat tab there. And we love emojis. So if you'd like to react with emojis, those are more than welcome. You'll see a small button at the bottom center of your screen with a little smiley face. You can go ahead and test it out. Great. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome you all to our panel discussion today. It's called AI in Action, Practical Use Cases for Automotive Marketers. Panelists, welcome. Can you please introduce yourselves?
I can go first, I guess. Hello, everyone. My name is Jarkko. I'm the CTO of Serviceform. Right now tuning in from London, but actually I'm Finnish. I'm pretty much, all my life I've been a nerd. I've been doing everything internet. And now for the last 7 years, I've been very much into AI and chat. So I know this part very well. And I work with around 200 top car dealerships in the Nordics and 50, 60 in Spain. And now we are coming to the UK with a passion. So that's pretty much me and Serviceform.
Cool. Hey everyone, Johan Sundstrand, co-founder and CEO of Firon. Also tuning in from London, but I'm a Swede. So both just moved here and relocated. I just relocated 2 months ago, so I'm pretty new here. So bear with me. I've got tons of boxes behind me, so try to cover it. But it is what it is, right? Very much into everything about AI and automation in general. Love this topic. Robots selling cars. We'll see. We'll see after this panel. Looking forward to this.
Thank you both. And just to let everyone know what today's agenda will look like, we're going to start by running an interactive poll. Everyone will have the opportunity to share their views around AI, and then the panelists will go ahead and share their takes as well. And then we'll go ahead and dive into the panel discussion. And as I mentioned, at the very end, we'll go ahead and answer all of your questions, and we'll also be sharing some great content for you to download. So let's go ahead and launch the poll. You should see small screen show up, pop up. True or false, AI will kill jobs? Let's wait for a few votes to come in and see the results. It's looking like it's almost 50-50. We have about 57% of people saying true and 43% saying false. What do you both think about this question? What's your perspective?
I can go first. You can take the next one first. From my perspective, I think definitely AI will kill some jobs. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because I feel that AI will boost how we do things, and a lot of the repetitive things, for example, in data analysis and these kind of things, which are clearly automatable with AI, will go away. But then the data analyst can do something more valuable. So I'm not saying that there will be a job loss, but for sure some jobs will be lost.
Yeah, I very much agree. I would say it's more about the job transformation, so
exactly.
to say. Some jobs are disappearing, some jobs aren't disappearing. They're just changing.
maybe more into like human related service and lots of other things, and doing more difficult things.
All right, let's go ahead and launch the second poll. AI is biased, true or false? Okay. It's looking like 61% of people are saying true. We have about 39% of people saying false. What do you guys think?
Should I go? I love this topic. We were on stage twice last month and discussing justice, and also in a panel discussing AI bias. And it's complicated. It's not a true or false answer here. The thing about AI bias, it basically comes from the data we train it on, right?
Exactly.
So to give you two examples, take recruiting as an example here. If, for example, AI learns from some old hiring data where, for example, mostly men were hired as managers, it might think that men makes better leaders or better decisions, which is obviously very wrong, right? But the thing is that we can actually fix this with AI. Yeah, we can actually fix the bias. It's often more harder to do with human bias. So it's actually us that trains the data, right? And we can actually fix it afterwards. So it could become bias during time. So because that's the second use case we have seen within recruitment industry. We bought our new application tracking system for screening all our candidates, because we see thousands of candidates every time we job post. And we started to see that AI started to favorizing certain people, certain candidates. And it actually turned out that those talents that were using ChatGPT to write their cover letter to match our job description were favorized to us. Meant the ATS system we used the same large language model, which were ChatGPT, so it became biased to the same model. So that could go very wrong. I actually informed the managers from that company, and they have listened, and they are changing now.
Maybe that's a good point, that you can also train the AI to get rid of the bias. So you can also prompt the AI in a way that don't consider gender, for example. Yes, and then it won't consider gender, which is much easier than changing, let's say, upon opinion of a hiring manager, because that might be like somewhere deep, which the person doesn't think that they have that bias, but then there's a deep-rooted bias, which is much harder to fix than
a great way to collaborate.
Yeah. And maybe from my perspective, I feel like AI is a hammer, and hammer is not biased, but the person who's using the tool can be biased. So AI, for example, big companies like Google, a little bit political, but Google is like a left-leaning organization. So of course, when most of the people who train it might be left-leaning, so then also the AI might be left-leaning. So that's kind of stuff we need to, of course, taking consideration also when you're using ChatGPT. In every case, always check because there might be a political bias, or there might be just wrong information. But I don't think the tool itself is biased. It's just like a big if statement.
Good point. Good point. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the third poll question. True or false? AI implementation is hard. Okay, it's looking about 1/4 of people are saying true, and the rest are saying false. It's actually a 70-30% split now. What do you guys think?
So that depends a lot. So AI implementation can mean everything. So it depends on are you expecting AI to do magic? Are you expecting it to run your company for you? Or are you expecting it to do everything for you? Then, of course, it's extremely hard. And one thing there is that if you don't have data organized, the data is everywhere, then it's definitely very difficult. but simple solutions to simple problems, very easy and very cost efficient if you know what you're doing.
Well summarized. There, I would say there is no one fits all answer here. It's very case by case. Enterprise, SMB, specific use cases could be very easy, could also be super hard, and the failure rate is obviously much higher than non-AI project. But it's could be easy, but there is no one fits all answer here, I would say. Oh, it's an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. True or false, AI isn't creative? I'm excited about this one. It's looking like 71% are saying false, 29% of people are saying true. Pass it along to the panelists. What do you think?
Definitely false. I mean, first of all, I think we need to stop thinking of AI as something that replaces creativity, because that's also something I've seen. And I read this great article yesterday that we should think about AI in terms of within this creative space, that we should think of AI as, or like Photoshop.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very powerful tool we can work with. It will help us work faster. I mean, it could create 30, 40, 50 designs in seconds or minutes that we can build our own ideas and we can bounce things on with it. It's not a replacement. It's about the collaboration, and it's very creative. And if you really work with it, it could be mind-blowing.
Yeah, definitely agree on that. There is also a nice example just behind me. So if you look here, I have two pieces of art created by me with AI. And of course, it's mostly the AI that made the work, but I prompted it to create them. So I do feel that AI can create. And again, it's a tool, but AI can also be used in like big problems, that if you give it, let's say, 2 big data sets and say that based on these, try to create new solutions. In this kind of thing, it's a very, very nice tool, because humans would take a long time to analyze that data and do things with the data, but AI can help us do that much, much faster. So again, sort of the tool doesn't create anything, but it just empowers the creator to make new creations. So maybe AI itself isn't creative, but it's like a massively good tool to boost creation. One issue there is also the rights of the pictures and all of this, which we can go into like 4 hours of discussion on that. And there's good internet groups on like, is it nice that you take all of someone's paintings and then generate something based on them? But that's another topic.
Absolutely. All right, that closes the poll session, but let's go ahead and dive into these real panel questions. The first question I have is, well, there are thousands of AI tools out there, and as an automotive marketer, how do you really navigate through all of these AI trends today?
Yeah, I think I was first here. So my like main take from this is that there's so much out there, but what you need to think that AI is not a fix-all solution, but what you need to see is what are my problems in my company, what are the new things in the market, and then find like real solutions for those problems, which are powered ideally by AI or not, but like it's still like very solution driven. And AI will not solve all of your problems. And I wouldn't follow that AI hype 100%. Of course, it's very, very valuable, but there needs to be a problem you're solving or some value that's generated for the company, and not just buying AI for the sake of it. For example, I think IBM did a nice ad where they are saying, we have this new IBM AI PC. And if you just take the AI out of it, it's the same PC. Like it's just a lot of people use it for marketing. And of course, us as well, we put AI into our products, but it doesn't really make it better. The end result still needs to be a solution to a problem. And in the automotive space, we see a lot of more people now moving into the online space. So less and less people visiting your car dealership, less and less people coming to see the cars in person. So anything around that you can empower the user to the visitor of your website, the buyer of the cars, to do things online and do things easier and remove the friction is where I would focus on my automotive marketing journey. So making the buying purchase easier using AI tools and non-AI tools, but there's a lot of new things out there which you should look at.
I mean, couldn't agree more. What now? We visit 1 or 2 dealerships, and we used to visit 5 or 7 or something like that. Not that long time ago. We go through 20 to 24 different touch points before we make a decision, right? And we spend time on the website, marketplaces, not just one social media channel anymore, so social media channels, TikTok, Rising, Meta with Facebook, Instagram, the YouTube is huge, especially for reviews, different comparison tool. And I mean, you name it, it's 14 to 15 hours spent researching online, which means it's possible to meet the need from the buyer in all of these channels without some help of AI and automation today. It's just impossible. You are already struggling today just to manage a photo session, edit that, distribute that to 1 or 2 channels like your website or marketplace. How would you even try to make sure that all these potential touch points reaches your information and cars and brand? It's just impossible. So I think AI can really release some marketeer stress here and help us empower and connect both the content creation part but also the distribution part of it.
Yeah, maybe also on the follow-up, let's say, like automating a lot of the follow-up is possible nowadays. So you don't need to, let's say that you have a lot of leads that come on your website and you don't have the resources to follow them up. Let's say someone wants to sell their car. You can also create AI that follows up on those customers, so your sales team doesn't have to, and then they get in touch, and then you can, use that. Also on the search side, there's a search, because people have been searching for a long time on Google, but now it's also changing that they will search on ChatGPT. And one thing we need to remember is that we need to also try to be found on ChatGPT. So if someone is looking for a car in a city, they might say that, okay, well, can I find this? You want your website to show up. And nowadays that Microsoft owns Bing, and they own part of OpenAI, it's also a very good idea to start also thinking about Microsoft seriously, because Google used to be the dominant and they will still be the dominant, but it might be a good idea to also think about Bing, which is usually forgotten.
Great points. Great points.
Johan has something. There was something.
Johan, go ahead.
No, I think that's very important for us to also understand how these large language models are changing the search behavior. I think it's great that you mentioned that. And I mean, just one of the latest channels we met within Automotive is actually Google Vehicle Listings ads, where you see the products coming down from the first search page. That's a huge one for e-com, right? It's just released for Automotive, not across the world, but for some countries. I mean, we just released that for one customer in the UK. Right. Gosh, how much traffic we drive. So much traffic.
That's a very, very,
and they're pretty much alone. I mean, just one more channel. You need a specific format, clean background, follow Google's guidelines, no branding, no banners, which usually car ads has on the marketplace. You need a different format. How would you manage that without AI and automation today? You can, but it's just so much work.
Was that like a structured thing you need to put on the page and then it picks it up from there, or do you need to provide like a feed?
You need to provide a feed.
Yeah.
And it's even more complicated than that. It took us like 2 weeks to onboard one customer. Now it goes faster, but the first customer took us 2 weeks to onboard.
That's super
pretty complicated.
Yeah.
I want to shift the focus to how companies are actually implementing AI today. And if those people who are thinking about it, I mean, what are some things that they really need to be mindful of when it comes to AI implementation? Johan, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, last year someone said cars are not sold yet by robots, but yeah, I said last year that AI will be able to sell cars during 2025, and I mean, since then we have seen a large at least 2/3 of us are using at least ChatGPT every single day to speed up the efficiency of work, to become better and faster on doing what we are doing. But only 18% of the companies have some sort of policy or governance structure around that. Meaning, first of all, we do not empower our employees to start using these tools to become much better and faster. But there is also this sensitive and classified data that you would like to keep, right, for yourself, which if you don't use the Teams or enterprise versions or have some sort of policy arranged with a large language model, these information are now shared with everyone else, and that's not great. So we also are using AI without even realizing it today. I mean, we have visited a lot of shows the last month, and absolutely everywhere, everyone says AI driven, everyone says AI driven. So we kind of lost the value proposition. So we instead of talking about the product, we tend to say that we are AI driven instead, which is not great. But there's a lot of great products out there which are completely AI driven, but they do not tell you about that. But like, who cares? But it works so much better. So we are using AI without realizing it. So I would say everyone is using AI today. But we need some sort of, I don't know if you have that at ServiceForm, but we do have like almost like a playground where we meet and we try out things, like champions from each team that try out things, try to embrace AI and really try in a safe environment. And then once we found something that we can optimize or scale or solve a bottleneck, like we do now with feed checks for our customer data, we then scale it, but we use it in a very safe, open-minded playground. I think everyone should do that. I think it's just test and try, be AI first. And then I think when it comes to implementing AI today, we touched on that during the poll, but it's a massive fail rate today. It's over 80% that actually fails. And that's twice of all non-AI projects. And basically, as you said, lack of quality data. You don't need that much data, actually.
No.
You need just very quality data. Check your CRM system. Are you happy with that or not? Usually you're not happy with that. So fix that first. And then all these systems that are basically dinosaurs, inadequate infrastructure, means that it's very hard to speak to your system, and that system needs to speak to other systems. Later on, when we start to talk about agents, which we hopefully will touch upon during this panel. So yeah, be mindful of policies, create a playground, and fix the data first and your systems.
Yeah, pretty much same points. From our side, what we are implementing now is a bi-monthly company-wide like a AI go through, meaning that we will look at what is new because it goes so fast, and we want to make sure that all of our fantastic people in the company have the best tools. So we just go through, especially in the development team, it helps so much. It's like a massive boost to, I would say I'm a 40% faster developer with AI, even though I'm very fast and very good, but I'm still better and faster. But it helps so much. And also we have now a proper AI regulation folder in our company. I'm not sure that everyone even knows that, but when I did a webinar 2 weeks ago around in EU, there's a new AI Act, and there are some things that you need to document and regulate. And it is coming, it's starting to apply. It's already applying now in the EU, but it's actually starting to apply next August for if you are trying to do something harmful with AI. And then the year after that for a bit more limited cases, and then the year after that actually for everyone. So it's not something you need to look at urgently, but it's something that you should start thinking about. Especially, and it's again, like even if you're UK based and you sell to the EU, you need to think about those things. It's very simple. There's a very good website which you can look at. And maybe the question was also how companies are implementing AI. Very quickly on that, there's so many things nowadays, but there's a lot on the pre-sales, a lot on the actually sales support, and then there's a lot on the post-sales, and then there's a lot on like Fire and us on the marketing and like outreach side. So many different things. Internal AI is also very powerful. We use also internal AI. We have something called Mira, which you can ask any question around service form. We have all of our help documentation there, all of our like basic information about our products. You can ask that. So that kind of tools are very good for empowering sales teams. And also just yesterday, I met a guy in a networking event who has a sales coaching AI. So let's say if you have a lot of agents and you want to coach them in a certain way, and if you want them just to yell at something, you can have like a face that comes and talks to the salesperson, which was I found it very interesting. And you can ask, like, you can train your salespeople to be better. So there's so many solutions.
Yeah, and that's what I want to get into, more about the use cases. But today, AI is becoming quite the buzzword. I mean, there's AI everywhere, that it's really like starting to kind of lose its impact. But that's why I wanted to talk about, in the context of automotive marketing, what are the best AI use cases out there? Jarkko, I'll let you go ahead and kick us off.
Well, let's start with the thing that I know the best. So I've been working in the chatbot market now since 2018, and it's developed very rapidly in the last couple of years. It is a very, very good sales tool on your website and on the portals where your cars are. And that is a very, 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 very good value driven. You can see the amount of leads that you get more, but it doesn't mean that you're replacing the salesperson. It just means that you're giving them more and higher quality leads, and they will do the sale part still, hopefully. And the AI will just qualify and get everyone who's visiting. So that is like the most, that I have the most amount of knowledge on. Also the same with WhatsApp. So you can do the same thing through WhatsApp, where let's say someone is looking at your car and then they want to connect with WhatsApp, then they can speak to your warm-up AI. And once there's a lead, you can send it to the right rooftop, the right salesperson. That's like for me, that's the easiest. And then going deeper into the sales, you can, for example, have a sales process for your sales team, your agents, and you can have an AI that guides them through the sales process. If you have a system that you need to fill all of these kind of things, what do I do now? It can answer. So that's more for the internal. There's also car search engines coming, which we also have a version of. Lots of like making it easier to find the right car. I can go much deeper into this. But let's maybe give Johan some time to speak as well.
I mean, great. I think all of these use cases are great examples. Part of because the question here were like in context of automotive marketing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in that context also, it also comes into vehicle inspections in order to promote the car. We trust that you can do a lot with today. We have seen great tools coming out very lately or actually a couple of years ago, but they're getting better and better and better in automatically value and price cars. Do the Q&A session after content creation. We have many dealerships. We have now over 4,000 dealerships across 40 countries. And we see so many of them spend so much time and money into just do quality assurance. Oh, gosh, all of the time sorry, I have to stop doing that. Just the Q&A phase is really growing, I would say, where you have to check that you sort your car out a certain way, that you do upscale, take consistency photos, etc. So that is growing a lot. The whole content creation part actually is growing, obviously, where we are within, where you can create unlimited amount of videos and image ads across all the platforms in real time. That was basically impossible to do before AI and automation came into the picture. And then also distribute the message everywhere. And then something that we also should not forget is usually what we do is that we do one thing and then we publish it, and then that's it. The whole optimization and continuously update the communication is as big, almost, to keep it updated, to adjust based on performance, to adjust based on if something happens, if you sell the car internally, if you change price, if you change location, if you do anything, basically, you need to update, and you also need to optimize based on how the response is within one specific channel. And that's very hard to do. You have the data, but then you also need to do it. And then also AI can analyze, but also AI can also, and automation can also re-render it for you and also distribute it back. So the whole ecosystem could AI do parts of it? Not the whole yet, but parts of it.
Yeah. One thing I'm really excited about, I just got this idea like yesterday, is that you already have good chat tools. You have all these things you can chat with, and that's very nice. But the voice part is a little bit still in the beginning phase, and I want to have some, not me maybe, but someone else can take this idea also and copy it. But I really want to have this situation where we can talk to a website, or we can talk to a car dealership, and then say, for example, you go on the front page and click on a button and say that, hey, I want a Peugeot. What is your best price? And then it will give you a few options. So this kind of like voice-based chat also is very, very interesting, and I'm keen into seeing what we can do for some of our customers as examples as well. I saw that guy doing that sales trading thing yesterday, and just got me inspired to do something related to voice.
Yeah, I mean, then it comes down to also to adopt also, I mean, just within the UK, I don't know how many, but different dialects. But
yes,
you need to adopt based on the dialects also. I think when we released voiceover for our videos, I think we trained on, just in the UK, I think we had 14, 15 different dialects.
Yeah.
But I mean, we need to, because if you sell a car and you're very known for within your area, I mean, you need to use your dialect, right? You can't use something, it's just weird. So you really need to adopt, and also you need to train on that specific models. And yeah, it's a lot of training.
Yeah, sounds like an exciting problem to solve, though. But yes,
it is.
So you have something that generates a dialect-based, like a talking head kind of thing.
Yes. Walking you through the video, the best highlights, specifications with that specific car.
Yeah.
And we also train that data on basically all OEM databases also. So how did BMW sell this car 5 years ago? What kind of wordings did they use? I mean, they know everything about the market, right? Or they have the data at least, so they should know. How did they promote this car, and what values did they use for that specific model 2019?
Yeah.
So we have trained on that data, and then used an open language model plus our own trained dialects. And then we combine these three models into one, and then use different voices and dialects for certain areas.
Maybe one thing that hasn't been thought still is that AI can be also used to like augment your, let's say, your car data. Like, let's say that you have a car, let's say on a website, or go into a feed for Johan's business, but you have a car, you have the year and the model. And for example, if you don't have information about how good this year's car is in terms of like, will it break often? How is the engine? So you can ask ChatGPT or any other LLM to like fill more data for that car, which is also a value that you don't necessarily need to have all the data in your system, but you can also augment your data from ChatGPT or other LLMs, which is very powerful on and also gives value for your customers.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that also goes into the fleet marketing, because then you will understand when you need to maintain or remarket that vehicle before it breaks down.
Yeah.
Or resell or change the fleet.
Yeah.
And now I want to focus just from the buyer perspective. I mean, how does AI help buying a car?
Gosh, so much to talk about here. But we actually, before I answer that question, we actually did a study just before the summer. We actually have to ask the customers, right, or the buyers, consumers, do you actually want AI to help you purchase a car, first of all? And the first thing they said was basically that they believe buying a car is more stressful than purchasing a house today. And the follow-up question were like, why? That was not one of the questions we asked first. We had to go back to 2,000 adults in the UK and ask a follow-up question. And they said basically when EV came, it's just complicated everything for us. So we don't know yet. We don't know what to do at the moment. It's just very complicated for us to buy.
Maybe a little bit to add to that, like now that coming from Finland to London, buying a car in London is definitely more stressful because of all the regulation and the parking spots and everything. So there is also definitely that point.
Yes, definitely. I agree 100% with you there. I agree 100% with you there. The younger generations really want AI to help us, and the younger generations within our study were between 18 to 44. The majority wanted AI to help us, and almost a third wanted AI to complete the purchase without even speaking to any sales reps. So yes, we want AI to at least help us to reduce some stress. And from the buyer's perspective, how does that help us buying a car then, Jarkko?
Well, you're pushing it to me. Yes, so let's think about. I want to now buy a beautiful new BMW. So how AI helps me find it? First of all, I will go to ChatGPT and Google. I will say I want the best BMW, and then I write that, and Johan's beautiful feed comes there. We can see the cars without the logos of the company, of course. And then, first of all, it helps me find the car I want, either from ChatGPT or from Google or from Bing. So make sure your data goes into those places correctly. And once you're there, they will click on it. They will either go to Auto Trader or your website or any other portal if you're from somewhere else. And they will look at your car. And then it would be nice that you have some way of talking to either directly to the company or something. So usually what we help with is the chat part with the AI support, and you can ask questions about the car, not based on just the information that's on the listing, but also about the model, like how often does this break down, and what is the history of let's say this type of BMW. So it helps you also find the car. And also maybe going one step back is also that you can ask AI to recommend you a certain model for your need. So let's say that you are a mother and you have 7 children, you need a 9-seater. So then you don't know if there are 9-seaters, but you can ask ChatGPT and it will find you some minibus. So there's so many things that you can do, but important for the marketers and the companies to make sure that you are there where the person is searching for, and that your results come up. And then, of course, from the buyer's perspective, one day, I think also the purchase part will move more from the salesperson to the web. And I know there's also already solutions and people doing that. For example, a couple of our customers, they have something that you can put a down payment online, or you can even do a direct payment online, but they are for very specific car models. And then there's a very good, like a delivery and a guarantee that people get their money back if it doesn't work. But one day, I think the whole process can be done automatically. Of course, we will need salespeople for at least the next 10, 15 years, I think. But at some point, it will take over the whole journey. And also, let's say that you didn't find the car you're looking for. AI can also market to you the cars. Of course, maybe as a buyer, I don't want that. But if I'm really looking for a car, of course, I'd like to know if the car I'm looking for is available in the price I want. So the AI can also then follow up on you and say that, hey, we have this new model. Would you like it? So there's a lot of things you can do. Maybe focusing on first on it's good to focus on the buyer. So make it as easy as possible for them to find you and get in touch with you. That's pretty much it.
Absolutely. Okay, we have one more question. I have one more question for you guys, and then we'll start taking questions from the audience. Looking to the future, what do you think automotive marketers should get most excited about in relation to AI? Not sure who wants to go first.
Should I start?
Go ahead.
All right. I just love to talk a little bit about agents. I'm so into agents at the moment. I mean, we are.
Who doesn't love agents?
Yeah. Who doesn't love someone that can help us do basically everything we need them to do? Hopefully, it's very interesting. I read that Mr. Sam Altman a few days ago. I'm just gonna take it up here. He said, the next big breakthrough will be agents, and that's the next giant breakthrough will be agents, and it's happening very soon. Actually, we're already starting to see that within some verticals and within some use cases actually. And think of it as, if you use ChatGPT today, it's basically an assistant, right? And an agent or a fully autonomous agent is basically an assistant or an extra brain, but that brain also has legs and arms. And that agent will be able to execute and do things for you without further input from you. And this is where it gets pretty interesting, because I believe that buyers will start to use agents before us sellers.
Yes, very true.
Meaning, go out, purchase my next ticket to Bahamas, hopefully, or go out there and source me a car that will fit my needs, book me for test drives, or even purchase the car for me. And then it will get interesting when sellers will start to use agents, go out there and market my cars or sell my cars. And then you will have buyers and sellers trying to compete with each other, right? So I think goods will move so much faster. It will be a completely new landscape. Agents are happening for sure. It's just a matter of time. We will definitely see some sort of breakthrough next year within some areas, within some use cases. For buyers, definitely. Because it will be much more complicated for us as sellers, because in order for that to happen, you can't just say to go out and sell my car, because that agent needs to speak to your systems. So first you need to fix your systems. You basically need to become a software company for that to happen. And then the agent needs to speak to all your systems in order for the agent to actually work and to be able to optimize and make decisions and do everything for you. And that's basically a little bit, yeah, that will take a few more years probably until everything
I think
works.
agent is a confusing name. I think they should have worked with like workflows or something like pretty much like that. So the idea is maybe describing it a little bit more is that exactly you can say that find me a car with this price range, and then it will do things. It will go and search and try to return things to you, and you can let it on, and it will search for you continuously. And here again, like you said, the hard part from our perspective is to make sure that it finds us. So it finds our cars instead of the competitors' cars. So that's very important that you have your data in good order, and that's one of the main key takeaways I'd like to get here. That you have if you have cars to sell, that you have that data somewhere, and it's easy to access, it's easy to edit, it's easy to add some fields if you need them, and then making sure that is in order, because once these things comes, they will move very fast. And then as Johan said, that there was a massive amount of traffic for this one that you were able to do on Google, not really AI related, but like it takes a long time to get your data in order if you don't have it. So it would be very, very interesting to get in. But yeah, I'm looking forward to working with that as well. There has been a couple of similar things to the agents before, but they have not been very, very successful yet.
No.
Now, maybe what I'm looking forward to, I'm looking forward to the next couple of years only, because I have no idea what's happening in the third year. So next couple of years, I think we will execute the way that we are doing now in the market. We will still have salespeople, we'll still have everything, but now the nice thing is that we can automate the boring, annoying things, and we can focus on the fun, more exciting things, like let's say creative content, because AI will not create that content for you. We can focus on these things. We don't need to focus so much on data analysis and these kind of things. So my idea is that AI will take care of the boring things, and we can focus on the fun, more creative things. That's what I'm looking for.
I very much agree. I'm super excited what's to come, actually. I mean, especially now where almost everyone is looking for cost reductions. I read somewhere now in the UK that car dealers in the UK are looking to cut between 10 to 15% in cost reductions. It's quite a lot. I mean, the holding value to just keep one car in stock have gone up from 16, 18 pounds to almost 30 pounds now. So there's a lot of bottlenecks here. There's a lot of things you can automate. There's a lot of repetitive work that it's been doing. I mean, AI and automation could just cut a lot of cost and time here, and would really, really help during these challenging years.
For sure. And maybe like one thing to really, like, once the people start to be able to buy their car without talking to the dealer, then it's too late. So it might be nice that we start now looking at the data and keeping again, don't buy every AI thing, but look at the real
Definitely
solutions and
not.
structure your data, because this market moves very fast, but it's not a magic wand yet.
Definitely not. And also actually interesting that you say that, because one of the biggest failure rate things is actually that a lot of companies just buying the new shiny cool big tech thing, right, from AI, and that's just try to apply AI to things that AI isn't really working for at the moment, and just
Or it doesn't create more value than doing it the way that you're doing it now.
Exactly. So look at the business outcome or a major bottleneck and just try to solve just that, and then scale it.
Very good example of this is we have like chatbots on hundreds and hundreds of websites, and we are testing right now AI driven, where you need to write and things, so like you need to talk, versus a pop-up form that says put your details here. And that is very interesting to see which is actually more valuable to generate leads. We don't have the results out yet, but we will in a couple of weeks. So then it's going to be very interesting to see which model works better.
Yeah, that would be great to see. We're running a little short on time here, so I'm afraid I'm going to have to wrap up, but let's go ahead and take some questions from the audience. Dineth is one of our moderators, and he's been kind enough to paste some of the questions in the question tab. Let me pull them up. The first question, I think, came from Roland, and he wants to know, how can I train future AI search engines like ChatGPT to promote my company?
You want me to take this, or? I mean, you can't really train ChatGPT, first of all, to promote your company. That's just not how it works at the moment. You probably know this better than me, Jarkko, but there's a few things that we are trying to do. It's just to make sure that our company looks good, that everything is updated, that we have tons of great, useful content. We are very active in a lot of channels. We share as much content as we can with quality, and just real honest information, and we keep everything up to date. A lot of ROI cases we have seen that have been picked up a few times. Yeah, basically that.
Yeah, pretty much the same answer. So think about training ChatGPT for your company. Think about it in a way that think about training your website visibility, because in the end it uses a lot of the same data as your SEO. So if you are found on Google, and nowadays especially if you're found on Bing, your data is in order, your cars show up. You can do this thing for typing into search. You can type site, and then you're like into Google, and you can see what is ranking. If it's there, then it's visible. And then of course it's great if your company is also, because these things scrape a lot of other parts of the internet. So as big mark as you can make for your company in the data set of GPT is the best way to go. And of course not try to hack it, but just to be like same way, thinking the same way as you would be thinking for SEO.
Yes.
All right. Here's a second question. Could AI be implemented in a way that I can find product recommendations on the site itself without having to ask ChatGPT?
This is all yours.
Yes, of course. So product recommendations can come from the context. So let's say that you have a product ID or product name or product category, and then based on that, you can show different types of cars or different types of service options for that model. Very, very simple stuff. We have a tool for that, but I know lots of other companies have as well. So contextual recommendations AI is very good at that.